Hello there friends, CS News Live here. In today's video, G2 crash out of IEM Rio, finishing dead last. Can Simple lead Falcons to the playoffs? Jackz will replace Mezii in Vitality. And in the end, as always, the recap of the first days of IEM Rio. Plus tons of other exciting news from the world of CS2. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And I think we should kick things off by talking about the latest big patch. We have already reviewed it in the previous video, so if you haven't watched it yet, just go and do it. Anyways, besides the battle pass added by Valve, which faced a ton of criticism, there was also some smaller tweaks, bug fixes and fixes of various annoying issues. But here's an interesting thing, some changes didn't make it to the patch notes. Turns out now a smoke grenade will instantly extinguish a Molotov as soon as the smoke's model touches the flames. However, the smoke itself still deploys with the usual half-second delay. So basically there's now a half-second window where you can see your enemies through the fire. The real question is, will pro players find a way to use it, or is it just another quirk that slipped under the radar? And how fast Valve will fix it? And since we've already mentioned the battle pass, let's dive deeper into it. Some folks have done the math to figure out the approximate cost of a star and how much it costs to open each of the cases. According to their estimates, one star is about 40 cents, which means that a deagle from the limited collection series is roughly $10 if it's not a blue gem, a gold gem, or a purple gem, because they're really rare, just like case hardened skins. Anyways, opening one of the collections will cost around $1.60, and charm collections are about $1.20. The stickers and the case are the cheapest at 40 cents and 80 cents respectively. Based on this, we can make some predictions about the value of skins from the collections, but keep in mind that players earn them by playing rather than paying, which is why many collectors and skin traders are already saying that they will be more expensive. However, the starting price may not be as high as many are expecting. So guys, it's still unclear how many skins you'll need to get to make the pass worth it. By the way, we recently had a battle pass giveaway on our Twitter and the results are already in. To not miss future giveaways and to stay up to date with the latest CST news, be sure to follow our Twitter. The link's in the description. And yeah, don't forget to hit the like button to support us and drop a comment below. Continuing with the buzz around the battle pass, which caused a lot of outrage among players, including pros, we had to mention someone who actually liked the update, and it's Monesy from G2. According to the sniper, the movement and shooting feel much better and smoother right now. Monesy also noted that in his opinion, character models seem to move faster. He even talked about the hidden buff to Desert Eagle, like it became much easier to run and land headshots with it. Something honestly a few streamers had mentioned before, but now that even Monesy has brought it up, it's worth thinking about the true power of Desert Eagle. Ilya also mentioned that the graphics changed a bit, and even on low settings the game looks like it's on ultras, which is obviously a plus. However, G2's sniper also wishes they would add new maps, especially Train, and he also suggested to tweak Mirage a little bit, like removing the window in mid. Can you imagine that? Speaking of Train, Ilya said that he really wants it back because he misses hopping between trains with the AWP and destroying his opponents. Bro, we all miss Train, we all do, really. Maybe one day Valve will finally listen to the community, at least we all hope they do. Speaking of the world's greatest snipers, let's dive back to the topic of SunPayus being replaced by Simple. This conversation was brought up again by Snake, who said the sniper was the best player on the team and shouldn't have been replaced. According to the analyst, SunPayus' worst rating across the tournaments was 1.05, and most of the time he maintained an average or even solid level of play. Snake added that while he's not saying SunPayus is one of the top 5 players in the world, he's still a very strong sniper and could be a valuable addition to any team. We've already discussed where SunPayus might go in one of our previous videos, but in short, he might end up joining Heroic, reuniting with his former teammates from ANTS. However, according to Stiko, the former ANTS roster had some internal issues after their victory at IEM Dallas. And you know what guys, it's not that hard to do the maths here. The current Heroic roster has Nerds and Saw as ex-ANTS players, so probably SunPayus has some beef with them. But but it's still just rumors. Speaking of heroic, we can't skip over Pimp's recent comments about Teses. In his opinion, Teses is currently the best player of Denmark, which led Pimp to two conclusions. First, that Danish CS has declined significantly if Teses is their best player right now, and second, that while Teses is playing well, Danish players overall aren't as strong as they used to be. The Astralis era is long over, and Heroic's golden roster is now spread across different teams following the major scandal. Unfortunately, and considering the bad PR that Astralis does to Danish CS, we really hope that this Danish CS will return to its former glory sometime soon. I mean, they definitely have the talents, so it's only a matter of time. And yeah guys, speaking of Danish players, it turned out Astralis was quite seriously considering Hooxi as a captain of their squad. This was stated by Rogga, Astralis's coach. He said this just the other day, but still pointed out that Cadian better suits Astralis, which is basically why Hooxi wasn't signed after all. And my friends, it's really a shame because he's been sitting on the bench for several months right now, and no one is interested in him, to be honest. But as a captain, he isn't that bad. I can say he is good. Or, you know, at least someone can hire him as a coach. I really hope that Hooxi will find a team soon, maybe after the Shanghai Major. We'll see. Now let's get back a little bit and talk about Simple some more. Here we have Thorin and his take that Simple will be able to lead Falcons to playoffs. He backed this up by saying that if Alexander gets his hands on the AWP, he will do everything in his power to maximize his impact, and even if he doesn't return to his prime form, he'll still give it all. The second reason is that Simple will simply not allow any failures. His mentality just won't let that happen. And you know what guys, Thorin might really have a point here, considering Simple himself said that he was ready to do anything to make it to the major in China. So I guess we can expect him to deliver top-tier performances, especially since he's always working to improve his skills. Guys, what do you think about Simple's return? Write your thoughts in the comments below. Speaking of roster shuffles, one of the most reliable sources about Vitality, KRL, recently reported that Mezii won't be playing for Vitality at Blast World Finals, all due to his family expecting a new addition. And we honestly congratulate him on that. But in his place, Jackz will step in. Honestly guys, this story feels familiar. It's similar to what happened with Hooxi earlier this year. Before IEM Dallas, Hooxi had to leave the team for his sister's wedding, after which G2 went on to win the tournament together with Stewie. And not long after that, the team benched Hooxi and brought in Snacks. Now, all Vitality has to do is to win the Blast World Finals to fully mirror G2's path. By the way, Jackz filling in for one tournament doesn't necessarily mean he'll be sticking around with Vitality afterwards. However, with Vitality's management, anything is possible, especially since this move would almost give the team a fully French lineup, with 3 French players and 2 from Israel. In that case, I think the team could potentially get even stronger, especially with all the rumors about Vitality considering to replace Mezii. And now, my friends, let's move on to probably the most exciting part of the video, IEM Rio matches. But before that, let's take a look at the team invitations, which are kind of funny. For example, in the invitation for G2, it says that they haven't won a single trophy, even though they recently won Blast. It seems like ESL just wanted to troll Blast a little bit with this one. The second funny situation involves Virtus.pro, as their coach's name is just crossed out in the text, as they've changed coaches multiple times. What's particularly interesting is that they crossed out Dastin's name, who had been with the team for quite some time. This makes me wonder, is ESL just trolling again, or they were just not up to date? I don't know, you might drop your thoughts in the comments below about this. And now, my friends, let's quickly run through the most important matches. In Group A, the first battle was between Navi and Imperial. And saying Navi were the favorites would be an understatement. Since the first group stage games were played in best of 1, the teams faced off on a single map, Nuke. And you know what guys, the match started and ended with the pistol round, as the Brazilians managed to take it and just one more round after that, while Navi just closed out the game without breaking a sweat. Every Navi player ended with a positive KD and a solid rating boost. Next up was a more exciting matchup, the American Derby between Liquid and Complexity. The teams picked Inferno, and the game turned out to be fairly easy for the favorites, Team Liquid. They got an early lead thanks to an impressive clutch by Ultimate, which sparked a 5-round streak. After that, the game saw some back and forth, but Liquid still came out on top. They started the second half strong as well, winning 4 rounds in a row and reaching the map point, and then they just closed out the game with ease, so congratulations. Up next was probably the biggest matchup of Group A's opening stage, FaZe vs FURIA on Dust 2. The Brazilians started strong on the T side, taking a streak of nearly 4 in a row, while FaZe managed to grab only 1, thanks to a 1v2 clutch by Robs. However, after that, FaZe woke up and tried to come back. They took 3 rounds and tied the score. The game turned into a back-and-forth battle, and FURIA could have secured it if Skulls had landed an ace in the penultimate round, but Kerrigan stepped up just in time to stop the Brazilian from taking it, which led to a tie at the end of the first half. After their sides switched, FaZe seemed lost. Nothing was working for Kerrigan and the team, while FURIA, riding the momentum and on home turf, took 6 rounds in a row and eventually closed out the game. Some blame it on the best of ones, where anything can happen, but I think it was the home crowd that gave FURIA the extra boost. The final best of 1 match in the Group A was the showdown between Mouse and Pain, also on Dust 2. Things weren't looking good for Mouse from the start. They gave the first 2 rounds to their opponents. However, they put themselves together and won the full buy round, followed by a 5-round streak. But then they just collapsed, losing 5 in a row, bringing the score to 7-5 in Pain's favor. After the sides switched, Mouse seemed to find their footing, clearly more comfortable on the CT side. They took most of the rounds, and a quadro kill by Sertion helped them to secure a 4-round streak. Although they dropped a couple of rounds later, Toji clutched in a 1v2 in the final round and sealed the victory. So as a result, for the first matches, Navi, FURIA, Liquid and Mouse advanced, while Imperial, Pain, Complexity and FaZe dropped to the lower bracket and were on the verge of elimination. So next we had the best of 3 matches, starting with Navi versus Liquid. The first map was Inferno, Liquid's pick, and it turned out to be an easy walk for Liquid. After Navi won the pistol round, Team Liquid responded with a force buy and followed up with 2 more, further establishing their dominance by taking 6 consecutive rounds. Aside from the pistol round and the last round, Navi managed to win only 1, which led to Liquid having a dominated lead in the first half. Nav kicked off the second half with the Beretta's clutch, and Navi could only secure 1 before handing over Liquid's map pick. Next was Dust 2, Navi's pick. This time the situation was the complete opposite. Navi dominated across the board, winning nearly every round possible, series after series. Even Yikinder's ace couldn't help Liquid get a foothold in the game. The first half ended 8-4 in favor of Navi. And in the second half, they set up an impenetrable defense, giving up just 1 before winning their pick. The decider was Ancient, and once again, Navi just dominated. This seemed to take a toll on Liquid's morale, especially in the first half, as they didn't wake up until the score was 8-1, after which they managed to win 3 in a row. Still, Liquid's problems continued after the sides switched. Navi took the pistol round and the follow-up, bringing the score to 10-4. Liquid made a valiant attempt to come back, winning nearly 7 rounds in a row. However, towards the end, Navi pulled themselves together and secured the win, sending Liquid to the lower bracket. The second match in the upper bracket was between FURIA and Mouse. It all started on Nuke, FURIA's pick. The Brazilians came with a clear determination to win, as they started strong on the attack, taking the first 5 rounds. Only after that did Mouse manage to respond, winning a streak of 3, and then they secured 2 more individual rounds, leading to a 7-5 scoreline at the end of the first half. After the side switch, FURIA continued to dominate, winning the pistol round and the force buy. The game on the first map was over for Mouse. Next up was Mirage, Mouse's pick. After the pistol round, I honestly thought the first map would repeat itself, as K-Cerato landed an ace, and it was beautiful. And it completely disoriented Mouse. However, Mice pulled themselves together and started winning rounds. They went on a nearly 7-round streak, with Brolin sealing the half by winning a 1v2 clutch. The second half was one-sided, as Mouse proved to be incredibly strong on their map pick, giving up only 1 round on CT side and pushing the series to the decider. And there we had Dust 2. Remember how Mouse had been performing well on defense? You can forget about it now. They barely scrapped together 3 rounds on CT side. while the Brazilians completely outplayed their opponents on the attack, like Neymar in his prime. Then on defense, FURIA simply finished MOUZ off, sending them to the lower bracket. This leaves us with a question: is FURIA really playing that well, or is it because of the home crowd? Or maybe is MOUZ having some internal issues due to the rumors of the roster changes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. After that, we had the clash between MOUZ and Complexity. The first map was Vertigo, once again picked by the American team. It seems yesterday's loss didn't teach them much. Yet Complexity started strong, winning 4 rounds in a row. But, well, the game began slipping away from them as MOUZ were coming back. The first half ended in a tie. After the sides switched, MOUZ continued their dominance, taking the score to 11-6. However, Complexity fought back, bringing the game to overtimes, where they eventually lost, dropping 4 in a row. Next was Inferno, MOUZ's pick. Once again, the first half was incredibly close, with both teams trading streaks and single rounds back and forth. However, due to their early lead, MOUZ closed out the first half in their favor. After the side switch, Complexity made a strong comeback, winning 5 consecutive rounds, but MOUZ answered with a 5 of their own, though Complexity managed to push the game to overtimes. It happened again, and again they were beaten. 0-4 in the OTs, and they're sent home. Fortunately, they don't have far to travel. Next was a classic, Team Liquid versus FaZe. As expected, it kicked off on Inferno, Liquid's pick. At first, it seemed like Liquid had everything under their control, but that quickly changed. At 5-2, the momentum shifted, and FaZe went on to a 5-round streak, finishing the first half in their favor. After the side switch, FaZe looked to continue their dominance, but in the pistol round, Brokey found himself in a 1v3, and he was unable to outgun his former teammate. However though, in the very next round, Brokey found himself again in a 1v3, but this time he won. FaZe followed up with a 6-round streak and easily closed out Liquid's map pick. Next was Dust 2, FaZe's pick. The map started with early dominance from FaZe as they won the first round and 3 more in quick succession. Liquid managed to fight back with a nearly 5-round streak of their own, which led to a tie at the end of the first half. But after the side switch, Liquid looked like they were playing without monitors, keyboards, mice, headsets, well, you get it. They won only 1 round on attack, and that was basically it. Team Liquid follows Complexity home. In Group A, Navi and FURIA will face off in the upper bracket, while MOUZ and FaZe will clash in the lower bracket final. Next, let's discuss Group B. First things first, we had the Turkish Dream Team against Astralis, and it was Inferno. And the Danes gave it all on defense. When Eternal Fire brought the score to 3-2, Astralis went on to a 6-round streak, highlighted by Device's great play. He killed 2 players with 1 shot. The first half ended with a commanding lead for Astralis. After the sides switched, things improved for Eternal Fire as they started winning rounds in a row. However, the problem was that Astralis kept responding. Even with single rounds, they still fought back. And thanks to the massive lead from the first half, the Danes managed to secure the victory. Another important best-of-1 matchup in Group B was the battle between Heroic and G2. It was Dust 2, promising an intense game. However, it wasn't the case, as Heroic just dominated the first half, winning 10 rounds. They completely dismantled the Samurai. I mean, are these really the guys who won Blast recently? Surely, after the side switch, G2 started to recover, finally picking up rounds, while Heroic were struggling. The score reached 10-12, and Heroic had to play a force buy to save money for the potential final round. But it seems that Shoes just had enough. He secured a triple kill with a 5-7. The second upper bracket match was the Danish derby between the aforementioned Heroic and Astralis, and it turned out to be quite an entertaining one. It started on Mirage, Heroic's pick. In the first half here, Astralis completely dominated, barely feeling any resistance from their opponents. Halftime 8-4, but after the sides switched, the game took a dramatic turn. Heroic started demolishing Astralis, giving giving them no chance at all, which led to an easy win for Heroic on their map pick. Next up was Ancient, Astralis' pick. The game was fairly even in the first half, with Heroic taking the first 6. But then Astralis came back and tied the score. But, well guys, can you guess? Heroic, after the side switch, just steamrolled their opponents on the T side. They gave Astralis no room to recover, so the match ended 2-0 in favor of Heroic. What a great game it was! And as usual, a little trolling from Heroic on Twitter. It seems like Astralis may have made a mistake somewhere in their roster changes, but where exactly? Drop your guesses below. Also, we'd like to highlight the second elimination match. It happened between Eternal Fire and G2. The first map was Anubis, picked by the Turks. Before the game started, it seemed like an easy win for the Samurai, especially since they were starting on the stronger T side. But it was Eternal Fire who got off to a hot start, winning 3 rounds in a row and nearly taking the 4th, but Monesy clutched a 1v4. This didn't sit well with the Turkish Dream Team as they responded with a 5-round streak. Then Ilya won the pistol round with his Berettas, but G2 then lost 4 rounds in a row, dropping the first map. Next up was Mirage, G2's pick. However, the situation was equally dire. Eternal Fire got 8 consecutive rounds, and only at the end of the first half did G2 manage to win 3 rounds in a row.
Has to be.
No kit.
Has to be. The Monesy clutch and catches Magic jumping around, evasive maneuvers. Monesy has the cross, but the smoke, oh, there's a gap. He can work with this. Hooxi gets across, he allows him to cross, and now behind the smoke is not the perfect weapon for the job. He's going for the defuse! Monesy reads it!
After the side switch, G2 took the pistol round and the force buy round, but then they were just completely overrun by Eternal Fire. Eventually, they lost the second map. They were sent packing. Once again, G2 were eliminated from IEM Rio in last place, just after their victory at Blast. Needless to say, the players were frustrated. Nico in particular finished with a 0.57, which was even worse than Snacks. The most sympathy goes to Monesy, who did the best to carry, but you can't win alone, can you? Next, in the lower bracket, VP will face Astralis, while Mongols will take on Eternal Fire. Let us remind you that we have analyzed only the most exciting matches of the first 2 days. We didn't go over the less interesting ones. So, Vitality easily made it to the finals of the upper bracket, where they will meet Heroic. And in the finals of Group A lower bracket, FaZe will meet Mouse. 2 Brazilian teams have already left the tournament and FURIA is the last one to be left. Still, they're in pretty good shape. You can see the bracket on your screens right now. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, to follow the channel, and as always to leave a comment. To make sure you don't miss out the latest news from the world of CS2, be sure to ring that notification bell. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.